Hello and welcome to Up the Villa and Transfer Hub, your home of Aston Villa's transfer news, links, noise, murmurings, incomings, outgoings. On today's episode, we're going to be reacting to David Ornstein's Emi Martinez update. And this is the fourth edition of his deal sheet transfer roundup that he's doing part of The Athletic. So Ornstein, for me, he's the GOAT. He's clear of Fabrizio. He's in a league of his own. So all of this, for me, is concrete. It's legit. It's correct. Otherwise, he doesn't put it out there. So we're gonna go through it, and we're gonna just try and picture and pave our way of what's happening. But this article, I'm going to leave it for you guys as well to put your own thoughts out there and let me know how you are reading into it. And I'll do exactly the same. So on this article, then, we are starting off talking a little bit about some transfer news, and then we go into PSR. So we're obviously mentioned within the PSR situation. So the PSR countdown, time is ticking. As the end of June approaches, so does the 24-25 accounting deadline for plenty of clubs. Once upon a time, that date mattered little to anyone but football's nerdiest observers, you rang. But the growing spectre of profit and sustainability has brought June 30th greater prominence. 5 of next season's Premier League clubs actually have an accounting deadline of either the 31st of May or the 31st of July. For the rest, The Athletic recently detailed there'll be less need for a flurry of deals than a year ago, although the transfer heat map might look rather redder around Villa Park this time next week. So deadline is approaching, but within that deadline, nobody really knows the amount that Aston Villa have got to make up. Is it 15, 20? The far-fetched figure of 70, 80, 50, 60? I can't imagine it's anywhere near those numbers. And we go on to say there are a few boxes to tick if clubs want to get deals wrapped up before they tip into the next financial year. For Aston Villa or anyone to book a deal in this month, they'll need to ensure, to borrow UEFA's wording, all significant conditions for the transfer have been satisfied, namely players' registration and the ability of the selling club to the transfer to the buyers. To do that, clubs must provide the Premier League with a slew of documents, including the transfer agreement between the buyer and the seller. The player's new contract and international clearance are required. So we're going to now go into what he's mentioned about Emi Martinez. So we have to go down to Manchester United. Surprise, surprise. That's the area that we are going into. Right, let me find it. So, Man City, Manchester United. Right, here we go. Let me know what you think to this. Has anything happened over the past week? Manchester United have kept in touch with the people who represent Emiliano Martinez since the start of the year. Martinez believes that any pursuit depends on Andre Onana's future. Martinez does not want to go to Saudi Arabia and would prefer United or another big European club. Aston Villa are yet to receive any direct contact about their goalkeeper, who signed a contract to 2029 last summer. Onana has been planning to stay at Old Trafford, and there is little movement by United to sell him or buy a goalkeeper for significant money. According to one of the source with knowledge of the situation, Onana has been in contact with Brian Mbeumo as talks over a potential transfer from Brentford continue. Onana and Mbeumo are international teammates for Cameroon, and the pair have spoken about linking up at Old Trafford. Right, so if we're going to decipher this now, and we think about Villa with PSR, for example, and I want to go back to a couple of weeks ago when Monchi did an interview for the radio station in Spain. And I recall his quote. His quote was along these lines, that he's not in Emi Martinez's head. So implying that he's not in his mind, so he doesn't know what Martinez is thinking. And he went on to praise Martinez, etc. So if we're looking at this now about these articles, Monchi must kind of be saying that it's down to Martinez. His thoughts are based on what Martinez is wanting to do, sort of saying it's all on Martinez. Now, that might be a tactical way of maybe trying to make it look like it's not Villa trying to sell him, that it's him pushing. But we go back to the start of this, and the other thing that we'll say is that, and I know a lot of you know this because I've mentioned it before, that Manchester United have been in for Martinez before. So before Ten Hag got appointed, they wanted Martinez and Ten Hag had Onana. So there is already interest there before. They have scouted Martinez before. There's probably been conversations with Martinez and a previous agent about going to Manchester United. So there's that little bit of a thought process has probably happened before for Martinez. But it's just this word in here of Manchester United have kept in touch with the people who represent Martinez since the start of the year. So this would say to me that it's not Villa that are choosing to get rid of Martinez for PSR. It's Martinez opting and choosing to take this transfer opportunity. Now, whether there's been a conversation and Villa have mentioned with the squad, this is what we're going to have to do in the summer, they'll all be aware of Villa's financial situation because we went through it last year. Maybe there's been talk of PSR, and maybe Martinez has took it on himself to go, well, if you got to get rid of, I don't mind. Do you know what I mean? You might mean I don't mind going. So there's that as well. So, and then the other aspect of it, really, if we try and sort of like think about it even more so, say, for example, that conversation has not happened. If you are a player and you don't know whether you're going to be at that club next season, such as Villa, you wouldn't cry on the last day because you wouldn't be that emotional to know that you weren't going to be there or you were going to be there. Do you not get what I'm trying to say? Like, say if he'd 100% made that decision, he was leaving, then yeah, he's going to cry, isn't he? But if he's not sure and there's been no conversation or no interest, he wouldn't cry because you'd just be like, I don't know where I'm here, I don't know where I'm not. Okay, maybe not. A bit like Luca Dean. Do you know what I mean? He's done some interviews and he's been a bit like, and Tielemans has been a bit like, yeah, I might be there, I might not. I don't know. Yeah, see what happens. I'm not closing any door. But to go down that door of sort of like emotionally crying shows me that decision has already been made. So it is a bit of a weird situation. And is he actively pushing and wanting to leave? It looks that way to me. It looks to me like he wants to leave. That's how it looks. And I kind of gather that because if in this article we're reading here that there's been no direct contact, so Villa have had no direct contact, yet all these rumours of Man United, Atletico Madrid, it feels forced then. If there's been no direct conversation with Villa, so there's no news then, is there? There's nothing. What's keeps pushing Martinez's name out into the media. And it must be coming from the agent. It has to be, because there's no contact. So I do feel like he wants to leave, and I do feel like he is pushing to leave with his agent. That's how it feels to me. So it's just one of those where it's a complete waiting game then, because Villa can't do anything. What can Villa do if no clubs have come into contact? There's no negotiation going on. So it's just one of those situations, and there can't be all of this noise for no reason. There's no noise on Konsa, touch wood. There's no news on Kamara. There's no news on Watkins. The only player that's linked with a move away is Emi Martinez. It's a bit strange to me. So, and again, it's Manchester United. We've seen here, he doesn't want to go to Saudi. He'd prefer United or another big European club. And then we see this here. There's been no direct, so there's no big European club that's come in for him. So it is an update because there's words and a sentence in there that makes me think that it's not Aston Villa that are forcing the sale. So I am getting a few comments regarding the deadline of June, and some of the wording is kind of like, I'm really worried. We're in the SHT. We've got big problems, and honestly, guys, I am so relaxed about it. I'm sick of talking about it. I'm sick and tired of it. But at the end of the day, you can't ignore it. Something that I do, create Villa content. You can't just ignore something because it's possibly annoying you. So come the 1st of July, we link, and we got all this cash to spend. And I'm joking, but I think it's just one of those. We've got to see what happens. It'll be really interesting when a bid does come in for someone, and then we find out what type of player it is. This is what I've kind of been waiting for, really. A bid comes in for Rodgers. Someone's bidding 50, 60, gets rejected. He's not going. We'll be looking at 80 to 100. But if someone comes in and bids 25 and we accept it for Bailey, then that pretty much probably covers us. And I think we're done there. And then we can stop worrying and thinking about sort of any of the big hitters, the big hitters going. So I think that's where I'm at, really. I'm not really worried about anyone going, because I think we will be planning for it. We've probably got a contingency plan ready for whoever we need to sell, or whatever we need to do, or how we're going to operate in this. And again, like, if anyone's saying we're not going to sign any, well, we are, because it's a new financial year. So come 1st of July, Redmond is going to be probably holding a Villa shirt up, because that's the next year's of financials. So we're not sticking it on this year's. We're going to do it on next year's. And then we'll do exactly the same thing as what we've done the last window. And in January, we will completely max out the window to the absolute maximum. And then we go again. And that's generally our model. That's how we work. It's how we're operating. And until the revenue reaches the required level, then this is how we're going to have to do things. And it's basically what we're doing. So let me know your thoughts on this article and how you're feeling about, how are you reading into it? What's the situation? And what I will say about this is that I don't actually think Martinez leaves before June 30th or 31st. Yes, June 30th, I think. We should know that by now. I actually this one hit that transfer will carry on. I think. I think that's not one where we're looking at it going, oh, he's got to go before June 30th. Nah, I think that one is going to go until, I don't know, it's going to go to the end, because with that one, there's moving parts. If Onana stays, he's not going to Man United. If our Black stays at Atleti, he's not going to Atleti. So he can't move until a goalkeeper moves. And sometimes that's just the way in which transfers work. So again, we can't sign a goalkeeper until Emi Martinez leaves. We're not going to have Martinez and sign a player for 40 million, because what if Martinez doesn't leave? That would financially absolutely cripple us, because we'd be paying the biggest earner and a brand new goalkeeper that's probably going to be on over 100 grand a week. So I think we're going to have to just play that one by ear. But doesn't sound like anything's happening anytime soon, but it does sound like he wants to leave Aston Villa. So that's what I'm reading from it. Maybe I've read it completely different, but I'd be interested to see what you guys are saying at home as well. Don't think we've had any other transfer news today. I don't think we have anyway, but I'll just double check. No, we've had nothing else drop today. So, Villa fans, let me know your thoughts. Up the Villa.